Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. In today's video, I wanted to do a green halo look, and this is what I came up with. I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. I'm trying to hit 500 subscribers by August, so please hit that subscribe button so you can see more of my videos. Anything I use will be listed down in the description box below. If you'd like to see how I do this, then keep on watching. The palettes I'm going to be using for this look are the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Conspiracy palette and the Morphe and James Charles palette, and I will be putting a picture around me somewhere so you can see the colors that I'm using, just in case you don't have the same palettes I do and you want to replicate this. I will also be putting the shade names and what palettes I'm using down in the description box, so definitely check that if you're interested in anything I'm using. First shade I'm using is called Daddy, and I'm using a 433 brush. And I'm just going to start this by packing it in that outer corner and winging it out. Because I am doing a halo look, I am going to be focusing this green on the inner side and on the outer side. And I'm only going to be sweeping it up and skipping this center part. If you've been watching my recent videos, I am trying to use more of the colors in my palettes instead of sticking to what I'm comfortable with. So I have used this green before. I did it with a St. Patrick's Day look. But I don't usually go for green because I don't like the color green, but I think it's a pretty eyeshadow color, so I am using it in this one and creating an all green look. I also recently, my husband bought me a new mic, so I'm hoping that the sound in this video will be a lot better than the recent ones, because I feel like my old mic was just going out and it just was not able to keep up. Had it for like 3 or 4 years now, so I'm not really for sure the lifespan of mics, but it just couldn't keep up. The sound of it wasn't very good, and it made a lot of mic noise, if that makes any sense. To blend out that darker green, I am taking the shade Social Blade on a BS Mall fluffy brush, and I'm just gonna blend this out and soften out that outer corner, those outer edges. And I'm doing this by using circular motions around the edge. And I'm not going to be too worried about what is going on right in here, because I am just going to put some concealer and clean it up. So I'm not going to be too worried about that. I just don't want to put as much product. I just want to keep as much product off of it as possible. That way it's less to clean up. And to build those colors the way I want, I'm going to alternate between using that 433 brush with the Daddy shade and go back to the blending brush with the Social Blade shade, and just alternate to make sure I have the colors that I want and they're blended out nicely. You don't want to start off too harsh, because then it's going to be harder to blend out. So by building slowly, it's easier to work with, in my opinion. Other people may do it differently and it may come out the same way. This is just what works for me. And I'm using a mix of windshield wiper motions and circular motions. I don't really have a reason for that, except for just trying to keep the color from going on here. So I'm like using circular motions here, but then just windshield wiping over top and then circling again. And like I said, I'm going back into that Social Blade shade with that blending brush and blending out that darker shade so it's not so harsh on the edges. And it'll give it a lighter touch on the outer side. And when I'm blending this out, I'm not using a lot of pressure. I'm just kind of lightly feathering over top of it. I think I'm going to go into these shades one more time and darken them up again. And I think that's when I'm going to work on the inner side. I think halo looks were like my favorite thing to do when I first started doing makeup, just because I felt like they were easier to do and they still looked like really, really pretty. I don't really do them as much anymore, and I probably should, because I still think they're super cute. And I just think the different color combinations with halo looks, you can pretty much do about anything and like it looks good. Whether you do colors that look good together or not, I just feel like doing a halo look makes those colors look good together when normally they wouldn't. Going back into that Social Blade shade again and blending that darker color out. I forgot to mention, these first shades I used were from the Morphe and James Charles palette. I used some micellar water to clean up some of the eyeshadow that fell into the center part, and now I'm using the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in the shade Light Ivory, and I'm going to cut the crease with that. The brush I'm using is also a 421 brush, and I'm only going to focus this concealer on this inner side. After adding this concealer, you'll always want to go back in with your other shades and blend it out on the edges, so it's not, unless you want the harsh difference, you'll want to go back in with the other shades and make sure you blend that concealer out a bit so it all kind of blends together. The reason I'm using the concealer is just so the glitter that I'm going to use, or the shimmer shade, it's not glitter, but the shimmer shade that I'm going to use has something to stick to and basically a blank canvas to work with. I also wanted to tell you guys something fun I did yesterday. I got a new tattoo. I've had this scheduled for like, I feel like 6 months now, and I finally did it and got like a 6-hour tattoo done. The tattoo that I got, because I'm not really for sure what I can show on YouTube, and it's kind of got like inappropriate parts, but I may post a picture on Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, you should do that, and then I might post a picture on there if you guys are interested in seeing it. But I don't think I can show you on YouTube. I can't show you anyways because it's got like a clear like skin on it right now, and it's gonna need time to heal. But I can post a picture that I got from the artist on Instagram. So if anybody knows about the Norse mythology and the daughter of Loki, her name is Hel, and it's spelled H-E-L. She is said to be the goddess of the underworld, and the story that I read about her is that she got sent there by Odin, and I don't know why she got sent there, so I didn't really read into it that much, but the story about her is, or that I read, was that she got sent there, like banished there, and because she wanted to, she became like the goddess of the underworld and like has like an army of all these dead people banished to this part of the underworld that she wanted to be like a goddess of. And I thought her story was really, really cool, really interesting. To blend that concealer in, I'm going to go back in with that Daddy shade, and I'm just going to start slowly building into that concealer just to kind of blend it out a little bit. Using a 213 brush with that Daddy shade on it, I'm going to go above this concealer, kind of fix that and sharpen it up, and kind of blend that concealer out on the top, because I think I went a little too high. Using the smallest amount of that Social Blade shade, I'm going to use that on the blending brush and kind of blend that green out again. Using the next palette, the Conspiracy palette, I'm going into the shade Conspiracy, and I'm going to put that right on that concealer. And I'm using my finger just because I feel like shimmers go on a lot better when you use your finger. I'm just working that in until I feel like I have a solid shimmer shade on there. Using a small blending brush, I'm going to use that Daddy shade, and I'm just going to blend that shimmer into the other green shades. And I'm doing this very lightly, and I'm not moving anything too much. And this will also fix the shape of that inner color, just in case like you kind of went a little off, because I was using my finger, so I'm not very accurate. This just kind of fixes that shade and kind of centers it. So I also have a tendency to, like, because I'm looking at the mirror kind of sideways to see what I'm doing, I sometimes move the center to the side. You may not do that, but I do, so this just helps me fix that shade. I used some setting powder and wet the 213 brush, and I'm going back into that Conspiracy shade and just packing on another layer of that shimmer now that it's all cleaned up. That way that color just pops. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this up, and then I'm going to do it on the other side, do the rest of my makeup, and I'll be back to finish everything. This is the look with both eyes done. I did clean them up a little bit around here, and then my face is done. Starting on my under eye, I'm using that Daddy shade with a flat brush. This is a BS Small brush again, and it's just a flat brush, and I'm just going to put that daddy shade right up against my waterline. And I'm only going to be putting this on the inner side and the outer side. And I'm just going to skip that center part. And this will continue the theme of the halo. Using a Mehron Paradise Makeup AQ812 brush, I went into that Social Blade shade, and I'm using this brush to blend that green on that outer side and the inner green. And again, staying away from that middle part. Using that 213 brush that I used before, I'm going to use that Conspiracy shade. I keep wanting to call it Legacy, but it's not. That's not a shade I know. It's called Conspiracy. Using that Conspiracy shade, and I'm going to put that on that middle part that I left open. Now that that shimmer shade's on there, I'm going to use that green again and just make sure that I'm sharpening that up, because I want that shimmer shade to be a focal point, not something that's too blended out. And it needs to match the top, which I know I'm looking up right now, so it's hard for you to see, but that's what I'm doing. I'm matching what it looks like. Here, I'll show you. On the top. Going back in with that Mehron brush and that Social Blade, just blending out that daddy shade more. And my chair keeps turning. So if I keep turning away, I'm not meaning to, it's my chair. For my inner corner, I'm gonna use that Conspiracy shade, and I'm just gonna add that in to give a little highlight on this inner corner. For mascara, I'm going to use the Benefit mascara. They're real. I did my waterline off camera. I use the NYX retractable eyeliner in the shade Aqua Green. Off wing, I just added a simple wing. Now I'm going to do highlighter. The highlighter I'm using is the Supreme Frost by Jeffree Star Cosmetics, and it looks like this. It's a nice like highlighter green shade. I'm using a 510 brush. And I'm using this on my cheekbone, and I'm going to move it up to my brow bone. And these are really pigmented, and I kind of forgot about that, so I may have put too much, especially since it's a green shade. I'm gonna put this on my forehead, above my brow, on my chin, and above my lip. I'm gonna use that 213 brush to highlight my nose. And I'm gonna put it on the bridge and on the tip of the nose, and then just blend it out with my finger. I'm also going to use this 213 brush to add it to my brow bone a little bit more. I just don't think I have enough on there. Before I set anything, I wanted to do some like darker freckles, so I'm going to use the NYX Epic Ink Liner and use that to darken up a few spots. Oh my god. Ah! Did not expect that to happen. Okay, crisis averted. Try that again. And by doing this, I'm really using like freckles that are already dark and just darkening them a little bit more. Setting mist I'm going to use is the Dewy Coconut Setting Mist by e.l.f. I'm going to use the JS1 brush and just kind of dab everything in as that sets. For lip liner, I'm going to use the Mahogany shade of the NYX Lip Pencil. Ow. I'm just going to fill it in a little bit. For lipstick, I'm going to use a Bare Minerals matte lipstick, and this is in the shade Friendship. So that is the completed look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I like hearing y'all's feedback, so please comment down below with anything you'd like to tell me or any future videos you'd like to see. Until next time, bye.